Hello, Shadowcat back, and there's a thing that I wanted to talk about today. See, I was on the YouTubes, and I'm just kind of perusing through videos, as you do. And I came across this video by somebody named Ruined Leon. Never heard of him before, but I've seen one video now, and I kind of like what he's doing. So, gonna look at more. That's what you do. When you find someone you like, you dive deep into everything they've done, scouring every piece of content they've ever made until you either get bored with them or find a reason to not like them. Wait, is that not how that goes? I thought that's how that goes. Anyway, I was watching one of his videos, and he's talking about a clip on Twitter or Facebook or something like that. I don't know. The details are really not important. What is important, though, is when he said this.
And all of these bad things I want to happen to you just because you're not doing the same thing as me. It's weird. I don't understand why that's people's way of thinking.
And when he said that, it's something that I've heard in many different places. I've heard it in videos, I've read it in comments. It is a common feeling that I have seen in various other places. Now, for context, you have to know what he was talking about, and what he was talking about is going to be right here. Mind you, if you have children in the room, yeah, cover their ears and shield their delicate little eyes, because this.
I can't. My daughter just called and her boyfriend has tested positive. He's the only person in his work that's wearing a mask out of, 300 people. And now my daughter, who's 29 weeks pregnant, is at risk. And I hate every single fucking one of you who refuses to wear a fucking mask to protect others. I fucking hope this virus finds you. I hope it finds you, and I hope it fucking destroys you. Because the people that are trying to do their part in this are getting sick because of you stupid, ignorant, fucking morons. So, please get vaccinated.
So now with that in context, we can get back to what he was saying, and the fact that he doesn't understand how anyone in the world can have feelings like this, or opinions, or attitudes, or just be this, let's not even mince words, just plain evil. I mean, how can anyone be like this? And again, as I said, this is a sentiment that I see all over the place. And I'm getting the understanding that this is not something that a lot of people have been able to really cope with or deal with for a variety of reasons. I think it's simply because we haven't really been taught how to deal with it. So I'm going to try right now in hopes that maybe, perhaps, I can help somebody out there understand where we are and how we perhaps move forward from this. So come with me on a hypothetical journey. I want you to think about your best friend. And if you don't have a best friend, just think about a friend. And if you don't have any friends, then make one up. It's been the pastime of kindergarten children forever, and it will continue to long into the future. Now, you have a friend. Now think about something that your friend likes, and you absolutely despise. Perhaps it's food. Maybe your friend loves liver and onions, you can't stand it. Maybe it's entertainment. Maybe your friend is way into the Marvel movies and you hate it. Even though I can't imagine that because Iron Man was fantastic. Not important. Either way, your friend loves something and you hate it. Now, in general, this is your friend and these are pretty minor issues. So, what are you going to do about it? I mean, you can try to learn to like what your friend likes, or you can try to dissuade them, but, not likely. You could also reverse this. Maybe you really love something and your friend hates it. And so you say, hey, look, I get that you don't like the Marvel movies, but hey, just humor me here. Come back to my place. We're going to watch Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, okay? By the way, since 3 takes place at Christmas time, that officially makes it a Christmas movie. You can watch Die Hard 2 and Iron Man 3. So you're going to try and persuade your friend to join you. And what if your friend says no? All right, so now you're at a bit of a conundrum. What if your friend says no? Well, is this enough for you to say, you know what? I've tried. I have tried to get you to love the Marvel movies. I have tried to get you to sit down and watch Iron Man, but you know what? There has to be a line somewhere. If you're not going to like Iron Man, we can't be friends anymore. Oh, that's shocking, isn't it? I mean, who would do that kind of thing? Actually, there are people who would do that kind of thing, and those people are kind of crazy. But the point still stands. Perhaps it's liver and onions. It's like, look, I love liver and onions. I could not... Okay, hold on. Parentheses here. I actually do not love liver and onions. Do not take this as a an endorsement from me. I think liver and onions is disgusting. This is strictly hypothetical. But you say, I love liver and onions. If you are not going to eat liver and onions, we cannot be friends. And you can do this with just about anything. It's basically, if you don't like what I like, we're no longer going to be friends. Now, in some cases, this might actually be kind of justifiable. For example, if you love traveling, okay, and you're almost never home, but you have a friend who only wants to stay at home, they will never travel, never do anything like this, and you never see each other, and they're basically like, look, you know, I like you, but if you're not going to stay home, I'm going to find other people to hang out with. And you say, well, I'm not going to, so this is going to be the end. It sucks, but it is a little bit understandable, and I think we've all been in circumstances like this. After all, as the song says, friends come and go. It also says that with a precious few you should hold on, but that's a different thing. So what you've done is you basically set an ultimatum. Either things go my way, or they're just over. In these circumstances, this brings it down to a level that most people can understand. Like I said, think about your own friends, your own family, whatever. You have things that you like, and maybe you come across something that says, you know, if you don't like this, then, I mean, we're at an impasse. Usually it's not something throwing away an entire relationship over. Now, we really need to scale things up. And when I say scale things up, I mean we're going national. We're going global. We are going back into the depths of humans' prehistory. I'm going to talk about the two forbidden topics, religion and politics. I know, we're going there. And the reason being this, when we're talking about the whole COVID thing, there's two sides to this coin. Number one, there's the scientific side, addressing COVID as a disease. The other side is addressing COVID as a political phenomenon, because you cannot argue it is a completely political phenomenon. Yes, there is a disease, but they are so both intertwined and separated that they are both connected and they're opposite. The point is, you can't argue that COVID is not political. What we have here is essentially the same as any opposing governmental ideologies or any separate religious ideologies. And if you want an example of this, I would beg you to look at the Abrahamic religions, okay? Granted, there's lots of religions out there. There's Hinduism, there's Buddhism, Confucianism, all that stuff. But your three Abrahamic religions, primarily Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Now, they have long and bloody histories that go back for millennia. And why is that? Well, the reason is very simple. When you sit down with these people, you say, okay, Christians, what do you believe? And the Christians will tell you, God made the heavens and earth. God made Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve sinned and were thus kicked out, kicking off all of human history. Humanity fell into sin. God sent Christ. Man killed Christ. And then Christ rose from the dead, and he will come back someday to signal the end of times when trumpets sound, the armies of heaven descend upon the earth, the gates of hell are flung open, and we all have it out in probably a great big water balloon fight? I don't know. Revelations was kind of sketchy on that one. Then you have the Judaism route, which is basically all the same, except that Jesus never came back. I mean, when he died, he was dead. But someday he will come back as a general, and after that he will lead them into whatever the Jewish equivalent of Revelations is. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with the Torah. Fair enough, I'm not as familiar with the Quran either, which is why I'm going to say Islam is just completely different. Like, Jesus was there, but instead of God, it's Allah, and instead of having saviors, there are prophets, and I can't even begin to speculate on it because Christianity and Judaism kind of really close together. Islam, almost completely different. It only falls into the whole Abrahamic religion trilogy because they do have a lot of the same figures, and I think they follow kind of the same thing. Regardless of that, though, you look at the history of these three religions, and they have been at each other's throats for millennia. And why is that? I mean, after all, they believe so many of the same things, but at the same time, they don't. Several of them have places where they differ with each other, and those things that they differ on are completely insurmountable. And they are insurmountable to the point where any one of those people in those religions will look at another one and say, look, this isn't even up for debate. You either believe as I believe, or you don't. Period. End of story. End of discussion. No compromise, no negotiation. You either believe as I do, or you do not. And in the event that you do not, you are not welcome in my house. You are not welcome in my neighborhood. You are not welcome in my church. You are not even welcome in my country and culture. All right? Now, I'm going to be nice and say you are not welcome. And you are going to leave, because the alternative is you are not welcome and I'm going to remove you. And if that sounds harsh, welcome to theocratic history. I mean, go back to the Middle Ages, look up things like the jihads and the crusades, and it is literally all, I do not agree with your religion, I disagree with your actions, and now I am going to remove you by force. Now, I go to that extreme example because while it is extreme, it is a very black and white picture of it. And using that black and white picture, I can scale it back down now to a national kind of political level. Going back to the two clips that I showed earlier, the clip from Twitch or TikTok or whatever it was, and this other guy's response about how he just doesn't fathom how anyone can be like this. See, watching this guy's video, I get the feeling that he is very smart. He seems like it. He seems to know what he's talking about. But what we need right now is we do not need just intelligence. What we need is a shift in perspective. We need to change our frame of reference. And this goes back to the first direct message that I ever did on empathy. Because empathy is the ability to go to someone else's perspective, see things from their view, to put your values aside, adopt their own temporarily. And what we have here is a case of, when it comes to the political aspect of COVID and the response that we're getting from people, you have people that literally believe, and this applies to both sides, whether you believe in masks, do not believe in masks. Whether you believe in vaccines, do not believe in vaccines. Whether you believe COVID is even real or not. I mean, there is that dichotomy as well. But what we have here is an ultimatum. It's a line. Either you wear a mask, or I want you out of my house, out of my neighborhood, out of my business, my community, everything else. On the other side, you might have someone say, oh, I'm sorry, you want to mandate vaccines? Well, no, you're not going to mandate vaccines. Get out of my house, get out of my neighborhood, get out of my business, get out of my state and my culture. We have reached the point at which there is no longer tolerance. I mean, there's been a saying that's been around for a long time: you do not tolerate the intolerable. And what we've done is that used to mean simply evil. Pure, just unmitigated, unadulterated evil. If you literally go around skinning puppies, there is going to be almost no one who is going to say, yeah, but maybe we should understand why they did that. Yes, there will be some people that say that. Those people are weird and we put them on a watch list. What we're doing, though, is we're simply broadening the umbrella of what is intolerable. And then we say, look, here's the line. You're either with me or you have to go. Now, unlike during the period with the jihads and the crusades, we can't actually take up arms and start removing people from society. We've actually done that in the history, and we called it genocide, and it was bad. What we can do, however, and it is perfectly legal to do, and believe it or not, I'm not even arguing against it. What we can do, however, is make our feelings very, very clear and say, look, I'm not actually going to pick up a kite shield and longsword and go on a jihad against you, but I really, really wish I could. Because if I had my way, we would completely wipe out anyone with your way of thinking. We go back to the video clip that he shared and then I shared. Reshared? Is that a word? I'm not sure. Anyway, the clip from Twitter, whatever it was, where she literally says anyone who does not wear a mask needs to be destroyed. Anyone who does not get vaccinated needs to be destroyed. We have reached that point, and the reason why, and you have to be able to put yourself in her position to understand this, is that she has drawn a line. Okay? She has set the Rubicon. She has made her stand. That's it. This is not difficult to understand if you can simply say, what are her values, what are her beliefs, and what led her to this point. This is where empathy comes in. You don't have to agree with what she's saying, obviously. I mean, what she's saying is horrible and horrific, and the entire reason why we are going down the road that we're going on. You cannot have a unified culture when you have especially large swaths of people who have said, here is the line, you're either with me or you're against me. That's what this comes down to. But when you say, I don't understand how people can be like this or how people can say this, you just have to be able to see where their values are and everything will make sense from there. So whether it's a law that you see that you believe is completely unfounded, whether it's an ideology you see that seems to be completely evil and you don't know why or how anyone could say these things, maybe this will give you a little bit more insight. And insight is the real important thing here, because once you're able to gain this kind of insight into other people, you can use this on various other aspects of culture and society to begin to make more sense of it. So the next time you find yourself saying, well, how could this person say this? How could they do this? Say, look, where are their values? Where is their line? And why have they finally said, I'm no longer going to tolerate anything else? Because that's really all there is to it. They have established themselves. They have said, I don't care what the argument is. I'm no longer discussing this with you. You're either with me or you're against me. Now, in some circumstances, this can be a good thing. I mean, obviously, if we want to go to the internet's punching bag, the Nazis, we've all pretty much agreed that, you know what? If you're a Nazi, you're not with us. That's just facts right there. We don't tolerate this. But as I stated before, that umbrella has gotten broadened to the point where it is now encompassing entire groups of people just for the personal decisions they've made, not for their political reasons, not for their religious reasons, anything like that. Just their personal decisions on how to live their lives. That's what we've been reduced to. So I don't want to let this go that long. This was just kind of an off-the-cuff thing. I'm going to wrap this up here. I do have more of these messages coming, but this one, I had to do something about this one. I had to say something about this one. I see it come up too many times in too many places. So if this helped you at all, do leave a like on the video and comment down below. Tell me if this helped or if something came by a little confusing. I got a little bit rambly at some points in time, so if I can clear things up, I'm more than willing to do. If I have to redo this entire video, I don't mind. It's not that hard. Otherwise, though, if you enjoyed this as it was, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone else that you think also might be able to use this kind of insight in their lives, and regardless, I will see you next time. Till then, take care.